So Google recently rolled out a brand new feature that allows you to get found in search in a brand new way. And the best part of this is there's pretty much no competition for these spots at this point. And not only that, but when you use this new feature, you're also getting other potential SEO benefits too. This is a great way to build natural backlinks to your site because it's so shareable, and it's also a great way to make your existing blog posts and your content much more engaging. And this can actually keep people on your site for a longer period of time, which is a huge signal for Google to give you even more traffic. So what exactly is this brand new feature? I'm going to tell you all about it and how to get started in this video. So at this point, we're not strangers to the idea of stories, right? Instagram has them, Facebook has them. TikTok pretty much is stories in video form, but now Google's getting on board with the fun and with stories, and this presents a pretty amazing opportunity with very little effort on your part. So this new feature is called Google Web Stories, and it lets you easily build visual stories in 5 or more slides right inside your WordPress dashboard. So it's a new plugin, you just install it, and I'll show you exactly how to do it in just a bit. But first, let's talk about the reasons why you might want to do this at all. You know, what benefits does this bring to your business? So the big main benefit here is the potential for your story to be featured in the search results. Now, there are a few caveats here. First of all, this isn't super widespread yet, right? So most searches don't return any of these story results yet. They're pretty much waiting for a few more people to start using them, but it does depend on the search term itself. So I think that they pretty much just want to make sure that there are at least a few of these to show for any given term before it's going to start showing on that term. Make sense? But I would think that this is going to start happening at some point in the very near future. So it's good to get involved right now so you're ready when the time comes. And the other caveat here is that these stories only appear on mobile search, not on desktop yet. But as we know, more than half of search traffic is mobile now. So I don't really see this as too much of a sticking point, if I'm being honest. So why would you want to do this if it may not even show in the search results? Well, I can think of a few really good reasons. So first of all, Google, just like Instagram and Facebook, tends to favor people who start using their new products right as they roll out, early adopters, you know. We saw this on Instagram when Reels rolled out. Anyone who used that Reels feature got a lot of love from the Instagram algorithm, and it's probably true of this as well. Meaning, if you publish a blog post and you include a Google web story in it, you're most likely going to get a bump in your ability to rank that blog post. Now, there isn't a whole lot of data on this to back it up just yet, but it's a very educated guess considering that Google wants us to be using this. And they've done this in the past. You know, it only makes sense that they would reward you and they want to push your content when you're doing what they want you to do. But even if they didn't give you that extra bump, if that didn't exist, there's still a few more benefits in using a web story. You know, first of all, it's just a good way to keep people on your post longer. You know, they need to open it up and they'll scroll through the slides. And it is a bit of a novelty at this early stage, so people will probably look even longer just because it's new and they've never seen it before on a website. And of course, the longer you keep people on your website, the better. You know, Google takes note of that, and if you keep people engaged for longer, they're likely to send you even more traffic. And the other hidden benefit of using web stories is they have the ability to be a real backlink generator for your website. So I don't know if you remember how big infographics were about 5 to 10 years ago, but I was a big fan of creating an infographic and then sending it to major blogs out there who could then run it on their site with a link back to mine. Of course, right? And those backlinks are still a huge ranking factor when it comes to good organic SEO, and stories really have a good opportunity to be the new infographics. And the really cool thing is they're way easier to create than an infographic ever was. So let's go into your WordPress dashboard right now, and I'm going to show you exactly how easy it is as we create your first story together. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing we have to do before we actually go into WordPress is download the plugin. Now this does come directly from Google. It's called Web Stories for WordPress. And we're just going to download it by clicking this button. Okay, so once you've downloaded it, now we are in the dashboard area of WordPress. So this should look familiar if you're on WordPress. And what we need to do from here is install that plugin we just downloaded. So you'll go over on the left panel to Plugins, Add New. Now normally you just kind of search for the plugins over here, but this is still a beta release. It's that new, so you can't do it just yet. So you have to upload it. So just click up here where it says Upload Plugin. You'll choose your file. Then you're just going to choose the one you just downloaded and then click on Open and then Install Now. Okay, from there you just click on Activate Plugin and you should be all set. Okay, so now we're ready to build our first story. So just go over on the left panel where it says Stories, and I'm going to go to Dashboard. I'm going to show you something about the templates that are available to you first. Okay, so I want you to click over here on Explore Templates. Now this is going to show you some templates that are available to you. There's not a ton of them, and honestly, they might be a little more elaborate than you need, and it might be kind of hard at first to use them. So just we'll just click on See Details for one, and it lets you see all the different slides that it comes with. Now keep in mind, you do not have to use all of these. It's not like you have to do slide by slide by slide. You could just pick out one and then redo it over and over again with your new content. And you know, there's all these to choose from, but we're just going to go from scratch. We're going to do something a little simpler. So just go over to Create New Story. And what you've got here, these are all the images you've already uploaded into WordPress. If you needed to upload any new ones just for this story, you'd click on Upload, and then you would drag your files or just click Select Files, and you'd upload them into it this way. But we've already got what we need. So let's say that this is your blog, and I took this from Cesar Millan's website. Credit where credit's due. So let's say you have a blog, you're maybe a dog boarder, or you're a vet in your area, and you had a blog post all about 6 tips to help cure dog separation anxiety. And you had, let's say 6 tips here, and you wanted to turn this into a web story. So the first step is creating it. Then you can embed it right here in your blog post, making it a little more interactive for people. So let's just go ahead. We're just going to pretend like this is your blog, and we're going to take the content right from here. So let's go back to our WordPress and in our web stories dashboard. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to want to create a cover for this. So I've got an image right here. I'm just going to drag it right into place. A nice calm dog who has no separation anxiety issues at all. And then from there, we want to add a title to it. So what we do is we go up to the text editor up here, and we're just going to click on the plus. And that's going to give us a text editor. So let's go ahead and just make that a little larger and make it, to where it's in the middle of our screen. I'll do it just like that. And then we'll add the title to it. So we're just giving this the title, How to Keep Your Dog Calm While You're Away. It can be the exact same title as your blog post itself. And then over here, you've got all the different styles. So you can choose the font. And these are Google fonts. They don't have all of them available, but they have a pretty good variety. So I'm going to choose the one called Playfair Display. And I'm going to, you can choose from anything from regular to medium, semi-bold, bold. Depends on the font you want to choose. But I'm going to choose semi-bold. So you actually have to have the text highlighted for that to work. Let's try that again, semi-bold. And then I don't like how much space there is between these lines of text. So I'm going to fix that by selecting it. And then this is where you do that. See how it's got the letter and then the line above and below it. So I'm going to choose... let's choose 0.8, choose just maybe 0.9. That's better, and I'm going to make the text a little larger as well. Let's go ahead and make it 60 points. All right, so then you can put it in the right place wherever you want it to be. And see how it's a little hard to read over this image? Let's go ahead and fix that. So all we want to do is click on the image and then go down to overlay. You can either do a solid overlay, or I'm going to do a linear gradient. So I'm going to click on that, but what I want it to be clear up here, and then it goes to white down here. So I'm going to click on the little display here, and then so I'm going to choose white for both of these. And then I'm going to make it a little bit more opaque as well. So it basically makes this a little more visible. So I'm going to do 50. Let's go ahead and bump it up. Let's maybe make it 70. That looks pretty good. That's nice and readable now. Okay, so once you're done with your first slide, and by the way, I should mention, you have to do anywhere from 5 to 30 slides. Anything under 5 is not really going to count for Google to ever show it. So you want to make sure you have at least 5. And the other important thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure that this web story is complete in nature, and it doesn't rely on them clicking through to some other piece of content to get the whole story. Google will discount you if you do stuff like that. But anyway, let's go ahead to our next slide. So what we could do is just do a brand new slide, or we can duplicate the one we've already got. So I'm going to do that because we're going to keep the same text style. So then we can just make a few changes here. So duplicate page. And from there, I'm going to choose the background image and delete it. And I'm going to put in our first step here. So I'm going to do a 1. Okay, so step 1, take your dog for a walk. And I'm going to drag in this photo that illustrates that concept. And we'll just drag it to wherever it looks the best. I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to change the text color just to white. And then to make this even more readable, I'm going to put an overlay on this picture like we did on the cover. I'm just going to choose solid this time, and it defaults to black, and I think that looks pretty good. It's nice and legible. So now let's just go ahead and duplicate it again, and we'll put in our second point. Okay, so we've got our second point there, so I'm going to delete this background image, and I'm going to put in our second one. And notice how it makes it like it fills up the screen. So maybe you want to show a different part of that photo. So I'm going to go ahead and just double click on it and then get it to where we want it to be, which really sells the idea. And then we can move it into the right place, just like that. And to make it readable again, I'm going to choose the image and then go to overlay, solid. And depending on how, like to me, this already feels readable, but if it's not, you want to make the overlay a little darker, you can do that with this percentage here. So the higher the percentage, the more covered the image will be. So if I were to make that 50, it's even more legible. So yeah, I think I'm actually going to keep it like that. I think that looks pretty good. And one other thing I'm seeing, I feel like this is a little too close to the edge. So let's go ahead and just drag this out ever so slightly, and then just make sure it's centered. All right, so that looks good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and repeat what I've done for the next few slides. Again, we just click on duplicate page, and then we change first the text and then the background. Okay, so there we go. We've got a cover and then slide 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now you don't just have to have these be titles. You could have an extra little text block with a little more of a description on each of these if you wanted. And you would just go back up to the text, click on the plus icon, and then you would just, fill it in right here. Just like this, and then you would drag it out to where you want it to be. And then you just change the text styles just like you did before. So you would choose the font right over here. Let's choose that one. And I'd probably choose a text of white. And then I might make the text slightly bigger as well. So lots of stuff you can do here. I'm just going to kind of get it to where I want it to be. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of things you can do here with your own existing blog posts. One cool thing you can do, actually a few cool things you can do, every slide can have a link in it. So let's say you were selling something, you had kind of an affiliate product you were trying to push, you could do that, that link, but you're limited to one on every page. And what I would really like to see you do, if you're gonna do this, is maybe on the last slide, you can leave a link to your lead magnet, letting them know, okay, if you really wanna dive in deeper into even more tips, go ahead and download my free guide. You can find it right here. And the way you would do that is you would just click on the text and then find your way over to the link section and then just type in the link right here. Just like that. Now, once you're finished, all you're gonna do is go up to Publish and click on the Publish button. Oh, we have to add a title to it. Of course we do. All right, now click on Publish. Now, if you were doing this as a first step and you're adding this to a new post, we could click there, but I think in most cases, you'd probably be writing your post first and then adding this in later. So let's just go ahead and click on View Story for now. And here we can see, slide by slide what we've just built. And I think it looks pretty good. So then from there, we're just gonna click on this icon right up here to get the link to this story. And it's right down here, it's already been copied. So the next thing we need to do is we actually have to put this in your blog post. And that's gonna give your blog post a better chance of ranking as well as your story ranking in the searches too. So let's go over to posts and then click on just all posts. And let's just go, this is kind of just a dummy one. Let's go ahead and let's say this is a blog post that you wanted to embed that story into. So just go ahead and click on edit. And obviously this is just a dummy post, but let's say you wanted to put your web story in, maybe right after the first paragraph. So what we would do is we'd click there, we'd go up to the plus icon where it says add block, and then I'm just gonna search up here for web story. We'll click that, and then all we gotta do is paste in this web story that we just got the link to, and then click on embed. There you go. And now it's right inside of your actual blog post, and then you just gotta click on update, and it's good to go. And if you're gonna be attracting all this new traffic to your website using this method, you better make sure your website's properly optimized for converting that traffic into actual clients, right? So you're not gonna wanna miss my completely free on-demand masterclass where I walk you through how to create and launch your own profitable client-generating website, whether you already have one or not. So just click right here to sign up, and I'm gonna send you your access right now. So click here, and I can't wait to see you inside that extra special training. See you soon.